Welcome to Security Nation, an ESA podcast that brings you the voice of electronic security and life safety. We bring on security pros to discuss the latest industry happenings, new technology, and best practices, telling your story to become the ever-present voice in an ever-changing industry. I'd like to introduce this episode's guest. We have Cameron Fleck, president and owner of NewVision Security. Thanks for coming on the podcast today, Cameron.
Hi, thanks, Anna. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I usually like to begin our episodes by having our guests kind of tell their story and their background. So if you'd like, you can just jump right in. How did you get involved in the industry?
Sure, yeah. So thanks again. I first want to say congratulations to the ESA on 75 years. It's your big 75 years this year, and congratulations to everybody there. That's a great achievement, supporting the dealers, and a great mission that's apparently working very, very well. So thank you guys for all your guys' hard work over there. But yeah, tell you a little bit about myself and how I got in the industry. When I was 16 years old, I worked at a small two-way radio shop that installed Pelco security devices in a lot of casino places up in North Dakota. And so I spent a lot of time doing that. Got into electronics, went to school for electronics telecommunications at our state college here in Bismarck, North Dakota, where I sit on the advisory board, and we have local internships set up where we recruit a lot of our technicians straight out of there to have the basics in electronics knowledge, relays, all that type of stuff. From there, I was always passionate about entrepreneurship, and so security was kind of something that always fit as I was installing that stuff at a young age. And so I went in, started really just putting in some monitored accounts, residential, Honeywell panels, doing a lot of that. I stumbled across our first acquisition, which is NewVision Security. So NewVision's 25 years old. I'm the new owner about 8 years ago.
Nice.
And so that's kind of how I got into the industry and got started. So it's an exciting industry, and we love being a part of it.
Awesome. Well, congrats on the acquisition. It seems like things are going well with NewVision. What are some of NewVision Security's specialties, like residential, intrusion?
Sure, yeah. So to date, we like to say we focus on 4 big things to make it simple. So cameras, key card access, burglar alarms, and fire alarms. And when we're going into a lot of opportunities, we like to lay that out as a package. It all works together, talks together in a way, but those are the 4 big things we focus on. About 2 years ago, we acquired a company called SimTech, and we really got into the fire alarm world and are doing it well. And I set 3 guys on staff, and that part of our business is growing tremendously. So we are looking at, after the first of the year, adding one more service. It'd be more of structured cabling and data. We feel that, a camera is on the network, much like a lot of other devices are, and we get pulled into a lot of the cabling and infrastructure of these jobs. So we're going to have some crews going around just doing structured cabling work as well moving forward. So 5 big things now.
Wow. Yeah, that's always exciting, adding new verticals.
Yeah. It's one way to add revenue, as well as spreading our wings out a little bit. Being in North Dakota, Bismarck has about 100,000 people. You can really only tap the market so much. So we've opened up offices in Rapid City, South Dakota, North Dakota, and our goals are just really to be one of the best security companies in the Midwest, but really allowing, I want to have lucrative network of people across the U.S., which is why we're a part of the ESA. I've met so many good people there as well. A lucrative network of people that we can take on potentially these corporate companies that stem right from Bismarck, North Dakota. And maybe we can service all their security needs across the entire country. So lots of opportunity for growth and in this market, which is exciting too. Very scalable. So.
Absolutely. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this interview is that I noticed recently an article that showed that your company installed a security system that happened to be at your old high school, which I thought was interesting. What was that experience like, and how did NewVision get this project in the first place?
Sure. So I sat down with my old high school. It's a private school here in Bismarck. And I knowing that their camera system was dated and it was still the science teacher that helped put it in years and years ago. we kind of went in there with a plan of what we're seeing in education, and we're really eliminating the camera count with the way that multi-sensors work nowadays and panoramic 360 cameras. And we're actually scaling that camera count back a lot of times from 30, 40 cameras down to 20, 30, and just making it fit and making it work. So it was a really fun project to work on. I got to sit down with the administrators and staff and really understand their needs, and every project's different. This project in particular, their needs were controlling the parking lot. The school's growing. There's a lot of traffic. There's daycare going on, kids standing on the sidewalk, and then high school kids, cruising through the parking lot. So they want to be able to control that. And there's a lot of ways you can do that with the technology that we sell. And so just presenting a plan with that and taking it in bite-sized chunks, really creating a budget. I helped out, chip in a little bit myself, just having a place for that school as well. And just over the last 3 years, kind of updating their exterior cameras and moving to interior cameras, putting some key card access in place, visitor management for the daycare, and different things like that. So to date, it's an updated system and a lot more secure campus.
That's great. I mean, I think that's definitely top of mind nowadays, making our schools a more secure and safe place. So you mentioned the key card access and the parking lot and things like that. Were there other primary security concerns or certain challenges in particular with this project?
This project, and like many others, there's kids will be kids and they'll start talking. So I guess there's a few other things like halo sensors that are out there that we were putting into the bathroom. You can look at a few cool different technologies that you can talk about when going into these schools and might spin into an entire camera system. So there's its own set of challenges as we work through it. But I guess my point would be listening to them and seeing what their challenges are and fixing them first. And in this instance, it was their parking lot first, monitoring some of the hallway traffic, and just kind of taking it and bite-sized chunks and chipping it away at it as we can. Understanding the budget too. So many times we walk into these opportunities and we don't understand the budgets and we just blow it out of the water. So in an opportunity like this, if I'd have sat down and presented them with a 6-figure number, right, they would have probably ran the other way. So finding a way to get it done is not always easy, but it's doable in even a situation like this where money might not be there. So
right, absolutely. Was there, what kind of, if you're able to discuss it, what kind of equipment was used or installed? Was there anything unique?
Yeah, so we used an access camera station environment, all multi-sensors and panoramic cameras. The unique thing is really just bringing those camera counts down and getting more coverage overall. Through multi-sensor and panoramic cameras, you can do so much more with less. And then integrating, the halo sensors in. Otherwise, we did lock down all their doors and whatnot. The SRO, a lot of schools are getting a full-time security resource officer. And so getting that app and getting those cameras in their hands so when they're walking around to be able to see what's going on and react to a threat if they need to, always is a challenge, creates a challenge, I guess, when working with the network of a school and different things. So, but you get over those challenges and get it to work, and it worked well. So those are some of the different things that we put into the school, as well as visitor management too. Like a lot of people are wanting to truly understand who's coming in and out of their doors and who's coming in and out, who's picking up their kid and why, much more than just, hello, I'm Cameron, I'm here to pick up my child. So there's some ways to do that through facial recognition to really take a deep dive in that. So
kind of working smarter versus harder, using technology to your advantage, it sounds like.
Yeah, and the newer technology that you've got, it's so automated and much simpler to use. So when we are showing and demoing a lot of the technology, from the key card access software to the camera software, with some of the integrations they have now, like Active Directory, it's really nice technology to streamline the process. And with a lot of companies going to the cloud right now too, IT guys don't have to worry about it so much. We can completely put an entire package together for them, and they don't have as many headaches to deal with like they used to. So
yeah, that's fantastic. Do you know if your installation has prevented any problems that you're able to share, like break-ins or anything like that, unwanted visitors?
I went to not on this one, but I guess one thing when people ask me this question that pops to mind is I put a camera system in for my old elementary school, it would be. So I grew up on a farm south of Mandan, Bismarck area, actually. And I went to a small school out there, Class B school, they call it. And we put a camera system in for them about 5 years ago. And one of the guys called me, thought it was kind of a fun story to tell. Well, unfortunately, what happened was there was a lady in Flasher that was wandering outside of her house, and she was an elderly lady, and they couldn't find her. And in a small town, it's like you put it on Facebook, and now the whole city's searching for this person, right? Everybody's looking. Like, the cops aren't going to help you much because there's one cop in this area, and everybody pulls together and looks, and including the school maintenance guy was thinking, hey, maybe I'll look at the camera system to see what I got going on. And sure as heck, they noticed, they checked some motion clips and stuff, and about 30 minutes before this, they noticed that this lady wandered off and sat down into a car just by the school grounds and was just sitting in this car. And they went down there and found her, and everything was fine, but she just wandered into that car and was sitting there. So I thought that was a cool story that you could kind of tell people. We prevent crimes all the time, really. There's been a couple murder cases. We get pulled into the court cases. They're always putting this video together, and it's a big part of cracking the cases. But this is kind of a story that I like to tell that's exciting and did its job. And I think there's going to be more and more of those stories to come as people put the right technology in their facilities. So.
No, I love that story. And the thing that with security, though, too, is that if it's working well, sometimes you don't get those stories because you're preventing them from happening in the first place. And
exactly. That's right.
If it's going right. So
sure.
Do you have any advice that you can share with other integrators or dealers when handling projects like this one?
Again, understanding their needs and listening, telling them what security can do. And then, again, listening to understand what they want, because every scenario is different. Every person's needs are different. And in our industry, if it's not the cameras, there could be something with the doors. If it's not the doors, there could be something with the fire alarm. There's always updates that need to happen. So discuss budget as well. Don't be scared to talk price.
Yeah.
Help other integrators, breaking it out into phases as well can really help you guys, win a lot of projects like this.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I put together the editorial for our magazine, Security Nation, and one of the recent sales-related articles that we put in there was not being afraid to discuss pricing. And it broke down some stats based on surveys on how many business owners and salespeople seem to be afraid to bring up pricing, and having those discussions increased their ability to close sales substantially. Really,
I would like to read that. I'd like to read that article myself. We beat that drum in our sales meetings all the time. If you're just going to send them out a proposal and see a number that wasn't talked about, chances of closing that sale are a lot harder. So talking about budget right up front and understanding their needs and kind of getting that taken care of so that they know what it costs can go a long ways. So.
Yeah. And if you imagine what it's like when you're the prospect of a potential sale, when the salesman is afraid to bring up pricing or asking you about it, it makes you uncomfortable.
Right. I feel like it's a confidence thing, right? If you should be like, I've sold this many schools 100 different times, right? Well, let's talk about price. This is what it's going to take. I know it's what it's going to take. This is what it's going to cost. And if you have that confidence going into the sale, a lot of times they'll think, okay, this guy's been there or this gal has been here, done that before, and we trust them to do the job. So
yeah, I don't feel like they're trying to pull the wool over my eyes or anything like that.
Yeah. So
you've mentioned that NewVision is you've done some acquisitions. You're working on another one, doing new verticals. What's it like being a younger entrepreneur in this industry?
So I tell people, I love it. We're in the tech world. We're in a technology industry. It's a great place to be. We have contracts. We're a subscription-based business. A lot of times, it's a really good business plan from people that are money people, bankers or capital razors, it's a great business plan. It's very scalable. So this industry is very great, and to have resources like the ESA goes a long ways as well. It's a stressful industry as well, though. There's been it's been 30 years of for a lot of guys in the industry. It's been 30 years of deadlines and BS, I guess we'll call it.
Yeah.
So it can get grumpy at times, but changing that tune and being a younger guy in the industry and an entrepreneur and being excited about it, that's what we do. And we take on those challenges and we roll with the punches and we get the job done. But being in the construction industry in general and having to deal with deadlines and other trades and management of all that, it's stressful at times, but it's really good place to be. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's a really dynamic industry, like you mentioned. Like you're dealing with high tech technology, but then you're also dealing with certain installations where the properties are super old using ancient technology. And so, I don't know, you're dealing with the past and the future. It's constantly changing. Yeah, it's really interesting, but I'm sure that's kind of what helps keep it exciting. There's kind of always a new challenge that comes along with the project.
That's right. Yep. There's always something new and exciting. And I tell people a lot, we don't make the technology. We service it. We're a service company at the end of the day. We install it.
Yep.
A good service. And so we should be able to keep up on this new technology coming out and rolling out and seeing what's the best out there and being able to provide that for our customers. So.
Absolutely. In your opinion, how do we get other young entrepreneurs or leaders to rise up in the industry?
I think with younger people right now, listening to their needs, they really want to work for a company that's doing well for them, they feel good about. And our mission statement, I feel like, says it really good: protecting the communities we serve, using powerful technology as a force for good. And so with these stories that come, court cases getting cracked, the silver alert and flasher, whatever happens, those are feel-good moments for us every week that we seem to be having in the meetings. And when you're growing fast and you have rapid growth, it's just exciting to be a part of something like that. So if you're a younger entrepreneur or looking to get into the industry, this is definitely one that you should look at. It's a great industry to be a part of. So with that, there's also, different ways of internships set up with local schools and programs, trade schools like we have set up that really helps get people into this industry at a young age. I sponsor a robotics program. So they're like sixth graders and they're going to nationals all through high school in a robotics program. When they come out of robotics, they're interested in telecommunications or electronics or cybersecurity or something like that.
Right.
And they roll right into college, and our state's doing a really nice job of that. So we're finding ways to employ these people and getting people. So leaning on your trade programs and trade schools to get kids interested is a big step. And then understanding that there's more jobs than there ever used to be. So if you don't treat the people that you have really good and with respect, they're probably going to go to another place and go to work. So I think just, treating your people and having really good culture is a buzzword right now. It goes a long ways in these businesses to be able to scale and rise up. So.
Absolutely. I mean, culture, you're right. It is a buzzword, but there's a lot of truth to it. I saw this survey earlier this year, but still, I think it's still pretty relevant. This big, massive survey asking employees why they think there is a big workforce shortage and why they felt, because we had so many people across industries, quitting and leaving the workforce. And basically, it was a survey asking them, what was your main reason for leaving? And compensation was actually only like third or fourth. I think the number 1 and 2 position was a lack of feeling of respect. And the second was having a feeling of upward mobility, a chance to be able to, advance their career or personal development in some way. So it was overwhelmingly this sense of, not being heard or respected or having support in their career. So,
right.
I think you're right. It definitely goes a long way, making sure that you're creating and fostering that environment for people to actually want to stay and be a part of what you have going on.
Right. Yeah, there's little things you can do to help with that, and growing is one too. People want to be part of a growing team. I do. Yep. My guys do. They tell us that, and they're excited to be part of a growing team. And so there's a lot of people that don't want to grow. I was part of a company at one time that didn't want to grow. And so it's exciting to do that at whatever cost. So maybe it's raising more capital. Maybe it's combining with another company through an acquisition that does better at the culture piece. But there's a lot of opportunities out there for guys to grow these businesses. They just, need to be talking to the right people and get involved with the ESA or whatever it is to have those conversations. So.
Absolutely.
One thing we did with our guys, for instance, we've got 10 guys that I like and they all talk about is we're in North Dakota. So we have 3 months of summer, and all the guys in North Dakota like to camp, hunt, fish, do all that type of stuff. So, it was my uncle, who's a business advisor of mine from Texas, coming up here with his Texas accent every year going, y'all boys need 410s. They need their 3-day weekends. And so we went to that last year, and we've got one guy that flexes around for service. The service department does have to work, but they take turns. Mm-hmm. So we kind of tried to make it work, and really most of the guys only worked one Friday unless they wanted overtime or whatever that was. But we were flexible enough to give all of their 3-day weekends, and they just really enjoy that. But they'll work their butts off for us in the wintertime. There's nothing else to do up here. But in the summer, they want more flexibility. And with the younger generation, we got to find a way to get that done, even though there's deadlines and there's things going on in the summer. We got to be properly staffed. Otherwise, we're not going to be properly staffed because they won't be working here. So that's one thing that we did up here to really help the culture of the guys in the field. So.
No, I think that's fantastic. Even just being open, to doing different things like that, or maybe test it out and see how it works. Maybe it does, maybe it works for your business, maybe it doesn't. But I think just being a little bit more open-minded to changing the way that we think things are supposed to be done. Luckily, we live in a day and age where technology can really support us in these efforts. With the use of CRMs or whatever to help with the back-end operations, it does open up bandwidth to be able to experiment with different things. Mm-hmm. So one of the questions I really like to ask is, we kind of touched on workforce as an issue with the industry, but in your opinion, what do you think is one of the biggest challenges that we as an industry are facing now?
Sure, workforce is going to be one moving forward for every industry. There's just no way to get away from that. There's more jobs being created than people, and it's tough. So our industry, our industry has a pretty low barrier to entry, and so training and different things which the ESA provides now, and there's different avenues out there to get this, and that's what ESA can do to help. But basically training to get our guys trained on their product. We've had to try hard to get better product lines in our office so that they could come to our office and sit in our office more. Imagine trying to get these reps to North Dakota, right? It's difficult. But we found the product lines where they are here every quarter or whatever it is, helping us grow our business. So we sell a ton of their product, and we want them to help us out. So those are a couple of different ways. One thing that is concerning, I hear from all my customers, right? So even if we do catch somebody in the act, the police and law enforcement are stretched thin and not really. We see it. Everybody says, "Well, I've caught this person," but they they go into jail and they get right back out. We've caught them stealing from us, and it's just the police don't do anything about it. We've got video evidence, so there's some issues around that, and even the police would agree when we talk to them. In this territory, even it's just they're letting them right back out for whatever reason, slap on the wrist. So why invest for some of these smaller car dealership types? Why invest this type of money when it's an insurance claim or it's more headaches potentially than I even want to deal with? So those are some hurdles that we're trying to get over with some of those small to medium-sized businesses.
That's interesting. Do you think it's because of a lack of police funding or political issues, or is it something to do with maybe there's too many false dispatches, and so I don't know, even when there is a case they just don't send someone out, or I don't know, is it a mix of a bunch of different things?
I just don't know. Is it too expensive to give they're getting caught, in these instances.
Okay.
We're seeing video footage, they're arresting them, but then maybe they're not getting any penalties for it. So that's
not getting charged.
Not getting charged. So we're seeing a lot of that, or I'm hearing other integrators around the country say that type of thing where they're in jail maybe and then they're right back out. Which
wow.
I get if it's not a major crime, but theft of material and some of the things that are going on, it should be a little bit more of an offense.
We're serious.
Otherwise, we're seeing a lot of the same people doing it, really. It's just in a small community with 100,000 people, you go to Applebee's and you probably know 3 people in there.
Right.
If you grew up in this area. And so all of a sudden you start knowing who's breaking into things and going around and doing this type of stuff. And then nothing's happening about it. So that's one concern of dealership guys, camper dealerships, car dealerships, all that. Why update my cameras? They're working. And when we do catch them, it's usually for something major that's happened around us. It's not really used for what we need it for. So those are some concerns that I've heard that are good points and some good talking points to talk about.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I don't think I was aware of that happening. I mean, I've heard of that happening in like major like coastal cities where it seems like people are just constantly getting released or not even the cops won't even arrive for certain crimes in the first place. I didn't realize that was happening in, smaller cities all across, even in the Midwest. So yeah, that is interesting and worth more discussion. Yeah.
I mean, even the police force would be open to saying, I think that the jails are empty, which whatever that means. So they don't want, and so whatever that means. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
and we're seeing, and then we're hearing that they're not charging people when the business owners are coming to us and saying, hey, we caught him red-handed. I had the guy standing in my camper dealership, for instance, and we held him here and we had the police come down, everything, they arrested him and he was back the next week. And it's just consistence of those stories. And I'm hearing it in other places too. I know the ESA's talked about it a little bit. It's kind of what got my head wrapped around it and kind of got me thinking. That's like, yeah, they kind of are saying that. And how are we going to overcome that hurdle?
Yeah, I wonder if, that's got my wheels turning. I wonder, we have the Security Alarm Coalition that kind of discusses, how the police kind of interact with our industry. They kind of focus on those issues. I have heard that there is a huge decrease in our police force. So I'm wondering if maybe that, lack of funding or something, who knows, but it's definitely interesting to see how that's impacting everything.
It is. Yep.
Yeah. So one of the last questions I like to ask, sorry if I accidentally cut you off,
nope, all good.
Was what would you say to someone who is considering ESA membership? You've been a member for a while now. What would you say, your experience with it has been? You've already said some positive things, but we like to get the message out there from actual members.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that, I like to consult with people and I'm an open book. I love this industry. So I would say do it. If you're thinking about doing it, if you're running across this podcast, it's exactly how I found it. I was up in North Dakota, young entrepreneur, and I'm Googling ways to make me better at my industry. And ESA does a really good job at that, and they brought me in about 5 years ago. And it's done a ton for me. So if you want me to talk to you about any of those experiences or anything like that, call me. I have no problem handing out my cell phone, email. If you want me to give it out on this, Hannah, I'll leave that up to you. But I'd be happy to, answer any questions of how it's saved me a ton of money. It saved me a ton of time. It saved me a ton of headaches. It saved me a lot of things. And the biggest thing is just those relationships that we get, those one-on-ones. Your guys' annual event that you do, which is in Kentucky this year, is always a really, really good thing to go to as far as breakout sessions, quick 30-minute conversations that are really meaningful to you and your business and your all your different departments. So yes, if you want to save money, call me and ask me why, and I can tell you why you should join the ESA. So,
yeah, who doesn't want to save money and not have to, relearn how to make the wheel every single time? I think the way that ESA helps the most is help people, who are new to the industry not have to figure everything out for themselves. Because we network people together, we have the training. So I'm glad that that's been your experience. I'm really excited for ESX next year, 2023, like you said, Louisville, Kentucky. We got some pretty exciting stuff planned for our networking events. I can tell you about it offline, Cameron, but we're going to be announcing some stuff soon. It's pretty cool. And yeah, if you want to give your cell phone, feel right, go
Sure, yeah,
for it.
awesome. Yeah, if you guys, people text me, call me, and if I'm a great advocate for the industry, I can point you in the right direction. Even though I'm in North Dakota, I've got connections all over the U.S. in this industry. So please, call me 701-471-2301, and I'd be happy to shoot me a text or whatever you need.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Cameron, for coming on the Security Nation podcast. I really appreciate our conversation today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you as well.
Awesome. And thank you, all of our listeners who tuned in today. Make sure to subscribe. We're on all the podcasting platforms, and the full video version of this episode and others are available on YouTube. And if you're curious about how ESA membership can power your business, please visit our website at esaweb.org. Take some time to schedule a quick discovery call with our membership team. You'll be happy you did. And have a great day, Security Pros.